Yeah, that's the same ginger bed that me and Noah planted out not too long ago, actually last year. And as you can see, I didn't keep up with it. It happens. Anyway, y'all, what I'm gonna be doing is showing you guys how to maximize a small space like this and show you exactly how much food you can actually grow for you and your family. You'll probably be surprised. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah, I let this one get away from me, guys. Sorry, Noah. It's kind of cool that it did get away from me because at the end of the day, I can get to do this with you guys. Also, my friend Stephen Cornett over at Nature's Always Right is running another series very similar to this one, where he's going through just the tops and bottoms of how to get down in a garden bed. So you can grow your own food at home. Probably start using this in the nursery. I didn't build this bed. To be honest with you, I like to see a bed, like a raised garden bed, honestly, no more than 4 feet wide. This is a little bit longer. This is closer like 5. So the reason for that is because I want to be able to have access to my garden bed from pretty much, I want to be able to touch it from every direction, you know what I'm saying? And when they're too wide, like this one, unfortunately, you can't do that. This back end right here, you know, that might be something more or less where I'm thinking more so trellising, but I can actually do a lot of harvesting on the other side. I can also maybe put like a couple pavers in the middle of this bed if I needed to. All is not lost here at all. Now this stuff undoubtedly is going to be a problem, so we have to get in there and get that out. Now this stuff, in my area, this stuff is the absolute worst thing that I have to deal with. This is a rhizomial grass. I've talked about it before in other videos, but see that? Those are all rhizomes. When you break one, it then sprouts another plant, right? So you want to be careful with this stuff. You want to get as much of that root out as you possibly can. As many gardeners watching me right now, they're gonna be like, oh my God. What I've found to be the truth with this stuff is that eventually it will give up as long as you stay on top of it. You're seeing this stuff as this begins to pop up, you can begin getting that stuff out and really begin to burn out that rhizome and then win. I've done it all over this whole entire plot, and for the most part, I don't really deal with it at all anymore. This bed as well has already been worked on. So it's very pliable. Ginger right here. This is still good. Huh, hell yeah. Yeah, man, gardening is actually what got me into all this other stuff. So I'm pretty much at home when it comes to garden bed. See how easy this stuff's coming up though? I know in the future I will deal with this, but I'll handle this stuff. Look at that guy. Wow. It's just a gnarly network. I mean, just by me breaking it like that, you know, I'm kind of causing problems possibly, you know. That guy's sprouting out. Hell yeah. And a lot of you guys are like, yo, you're standing in your garden bed? I mean, yeah, you could totally stand in your garden bed. I'm not really worrying about compacting my soil right now. I'm really just working the hell out of this to get this stuff up anyway. The level of compaction that I'm actually going to be doing right now is very, very minimal, especially considering this is probably one of the last times I'm ever going to be standing in this thing. The main goal is just to get this stuff up. So, by any means necessary. For the most part, we don't really want weeds, but in a situation like this, you know, I much rather keep weeds in my garden bed than to clear them and leave my garden bed just wide open. I want to make sure that there's some kind of, you know, just some kind of exchange happening all the time. I want to make sure that there's organic matter in the bed, even if it is something that I don't want. But this grass actually adds as a mat, you know what I mean? So it kind of adds like a mulch where it covers up a lot of the soil, making it to where it's not depleted. The soil's not going to get depleted or leached out from the sun and whatnot. But ideally, it's smarter to go ahead and throw like some kind of cover crop in here. It really depends on what season you're in. What makes the grass suck so much is that I have to get that out of the bed. If that was some other type of weed, at least enough of them to where it's worth it, like, you know, like like some of that mallow or like some of the wild lettuces that we're growing in here, things like that, I would have just pretty much just left right on top of this bed and just let it ride out, man. Because all that's going to do is put that nutrient right back into the soil. Where the grass, if I do that with it, it's just going to reroot, man. So I got to get it out. You see all that green? That's nutrients that I now am getting rid of. That it's actually taken from my soil. I mean, I got worms and stuff coming all up in here. That's a good sign. Lets me know that there's life cracking in here. That song in my head, money for nothing and the chicks are free. Was that ZZ Top? Why is that in my head right there? We got to move it. You can't move a little black child in the middle of the suburbs in the middle of the 80s and not expect them to know ZZ Top, y'all. Yeah, man, we're making pretty good time with this. Just got wind that they're thinking about reclosing the farmers markets again. And so, although Garcetti did say that as long as some sort of a plan in motion at the farmers market, that everything should still be cool. And until then, I'm just not certain as to what is going to happen next, because as far as I can tell, the stores are way worse than the farmers market ever will be. You know, most of the farmers markets I'm at are always 6 foot distances, at least the ones I'm working at, and that's way more regulated than that at a supermarket. Most of the farmers are way cool with it because we don't want to get sick either, so it's cool. I feel safe. Yeah, they're doing a really good job at my farmers markets, man. They're doing a really good job. I'm really proud of them. I figure it's probably smart to start getting a lot of at least my favorite foods back. This is something that I've been wanting to do anyway for a while. And what's cool is that all the overage that I might have, I can actually still sell through my store. I can store myself, and I can make sure that my homies got some too. So it's all good. Yeah, there's a lot of ladybugs out right now. Especially when you're dealing with outdoors, let ladybugs come to you. Guys, this video undoubtedly is gonna go a little bit longer than what IGTV is gonna allow me. So more than likely it's gonna go up on YouTube as well. If you wanna watch the whole thing. Oh, that. Got all that stuff out relatively fast, man. That's cool. Take a look at our grow space and see what we have to use. So, like I said, this is it's a weird shaped bed, but nevertheless, we'll be able to get down in it. Again, I didn't grow this bed. I mean, I didn't build this bed out. I would have made it a little bit more slender, at least to make it like 4 foot on either side, which is, you know what, it's right about when I look at it. It's just that it butts up against the wall, right? So now I can't get there. So like I was saying before, we do have this awesome fence, right? Dude, that ain't nothing but trellis. See? So we can grow trellis and plants all inside of here that allows us to go, you know, probably on the other side and harvest, especially with my length, right? Yeah. I mean, it'd be awkward. I can actually get back here. And like I said, I can actually put a paver or two back here inside of this little area here as well. That's going to make it to where I can actually access a lot of the food that I do have growing here. But for the most part, I could probably come back here and harvest a lot of the food that I want along this fence. So I think the smart thing for me to do is actually to come up vertically as opposed for me to actually do anything too low on this side. Yeah, shoot, if I do that, there's a good chance I might not even need to put a paver in this area if I grow out smart, but it won't hurt for me to drop a couple blocks here. Just like all of my other gardens, I don't like to block myself in. So I'll go ahead and just put that block there, and that way I can grow whatever I want around that block, and I can have things that are gonna be a little bit lower to the ground. It can actually be growing there, and that fence won't hinder me.
Go to the nursery. Go to the nursery.
Nursery. Hey, nursery. Yo, so here we are. So here's some squash. These guys are pretty much all my summer squash. But these are some acorn squash, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, these are the acorn squash. Got a bunch of tomatoes. Those tomatoes will definitely, some of those tomatoes will definitely end up in at least some of those beds for sure. And it looks like Yeah, that's right. And then we also had some of the butternut squash I was really looking forward to, but unfortunately those didn't make it. The seed came in and it was already moldy. The summer squash, those are all for row. Whatever overflow we have, we'll put out in another bed and we can eat that as well. Most of the time I'm going to Home Depot for most of my stuff, right? And I do a lot of that to show you pretty much the easiest way to get stuff, because I know Home Depot and Lowe's are in like a lot of different places. This time around, this is undoubtedly going to be a series, so we'll show you different ways and different places that we can go to. Right now, however, I want to amend the soil and maybe bring the level up a little bit more, just so I have more growing room. So I'm not going to go to Home Depot. What I'm going to do is go to one of my local nurseries. If you're in Southern California like this, you probably actually have a nursery ready, or see one that's on the corner that you've been wanting to check out. I always recommend going there. A lot of times they are more equipped, if you will, with the right thing. Home Depot is just going to get a little bit of the cheaper things, but are the lesser quality type of a product. Not that they're not good, but they're not great. Right now, I'm looking for something that's going to be a little bit better than what Home Depot has. Don't get me wrong, there's Home Depot stuff that's already in this garden bed, but I'm going to beefing it up with some more worm castings and things that they just don't sell at Home Depot. Alrighty guys, so I am pretty much done. I ended up at my Sunshine Nursery. Got that nice little hole. They honestly didn't have everything that I wanted though, unfortunately. They just actually recently moved. But this is really cool how they have like greenhouse setups and stuff. But it looks like they're emphasizing a little bit more on their nursery stocks, right? All that stuff. Which is dope. Don't blame them at all. It's a good move. But anyhow, it looks like they've cut back on a lot of their amending agents. That stuff right there is pretty good. Like I always say, dude, you always want to aim for the very best that you can afford, or the very best that you can get. This is you growing your food, so you know, I always want to take that serious. Let's just go over what it is that we got. We got some pretty much just a vegetable, all-around vegetable fert here. It's a 463, it's an NPK right there, so nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. As you can see, it's pretty balanced. The 6 is kind of high, but that's pretty chill. I don't like seeing those things get past the 10. Most organic fertilizers will not get past 10. So in that area, that's how you know for the most part, you're fairly safe. Definite plus all the time worm castings. Now my worm casting of choice is actually, I think it's Wormcast Gold or Worm Gold, something like that. That's the one I like to use a lot. They used to carry it, but they don't have it here anymore. So there you go. And then we also have some composted chicken manure, and then for the most part the same thing in there too. Just made it back. What I'm going to do is keep on filling in the rest of this here garden bed. Composted chicken manure, mainly again just to put more of that nitrogen back into the soil. It's been my finding, using composted chicken manure even in a bag like that, it's not always a good idea to directly sow your grow space with seeds right after putting that stuff in. Let it air out a little bit, let it kind of cool down. I've lost a lot. Not saying that that's something that happens all the time, just happened to me personally. As you can see, you have a pretty good top dressing on there. Now I'm just going to kind of mix it in. The next step is to actually put in the drip irrigation system. Listen, I get it. I'm gonna be watering my plants by hand. I don't need a drip irrigation system. I got a lot of time. Dude, put in a drip irrigation system, please. Just put it in. You'll be way happier. Drip irrigation systems, I have to admit, have saved me gardening many times. I have to believe that having a drip irrigation system probably will heighten your success in growing in a garden bed, or having a garden. It's going to at least raise your percentage. I mean, I have to say at least 50%. There might be a time where, yeah, you are home and you love watering your plants, but you don't feel like going outside. And if you got that thing on a timer, you know you don't have to, but you're just gonna be watering because you want to. So put in a drip, man. You'll be a lot happier in the end game. They're not that expensive, especially for something like this size. Probably under $100 for this. I have a lot of these pieces already here, so I'm just gonna kind of cannibalize what it is that I already have, and yeah. I'll show you guys how to get this dripping. But anyway, I already have my timer set up there, and I just simply attached my the hose fitting that I'm going to be using for that garden bed. Already got that solid filter, and that's just coming off of the main tap. So I kind of have that solid filter just there for all the lines that this little timer actually holds, right? So my plan is to run that line. It's gonna go underground here, make a little trench, and then it's gonna come up. Right about here, I'm thinking, right about this area here. And what I'll do is have like a little valve here so I can have all the control that I need on this garden bed, just in case if I need to turn something on or off, whatever. Yo, I don't know who that is over there, but family, your taste in music is superb. Just child, I don't know, could you guys hear that? Just how much? Yeah, that's it. Here, I'll give it a little bit of space. I choose to run my water with just because it's a hose and I normally have a lot of this on hand. I'd much rather run my distances when it comes to running water with these guys as opposed to with PVC, just because right now it's just a lot cheaper. This right here will actually adapt poly pipe to this 1.5 inch PVC. I'm going to use this. Now I'm just making this for a spacer between this 90-degree elbow and my valve. I don't really feel as though I need to glue this in just because there's not going to be a lot of pressure on these pipes here. I'm kind of getting a bit of a pinch in this line. So I'm gonna go ahead and add this 90-degree elbow to make the pipe stand up straight and take that kink out. These are what they call compression fittings. They really make life a little bit easier, you know? All right. All right. Let's go ahead and put the rest of it on now. All right, now I'm gonna blow out that line. Well, maybe I should go ahead and cement this stuff together after all. Now, if you guys can see that, I like to put the cement around the actual PVC pipe and not in the hole. I don't know, man. It just, to me, it just seems like there's a lot less chance for any kind of buildup, if you will. Also, the type of system that I'm building is going to be a double pressurizing system. Actually, it's not really a double pressurizing system, but what I'm doing is creating a complete triangle. But basically what I'm doing is keeping the water pressure inside of those hoses as high as I possibly can, just in case if any kind of debris gets in there, they can easily get blown out. When we're dealing with emitters, man, you really don't want any dirt inside those lines. So in fact, I'm gonna go ahead and blow this out one more time. A good rule of thumb for me when it comes to measuring out a lot of my PVC or even these poly pipes is to do this. So you see where this little T is right here? I normally will kind of line that up right about that area there. And that's right about here is where I'm going to make my cut. Got it. Got a little bit more dirt in the line, so I'm gonna want to blow this out again. Yeah, dude, when it comes to this whole thing, you really don't want any dirt in those lines, especially with those emitters. They're really small. I mean, just a little flick of dirt could actually, you know, mess up some plants. So, but that's again why I'm over pressurizing the system. Hopefully, if any dirt does get in there, the pressure will just end up popping that stuff out. So I'm using rocks to actually hold down the pipes themselves. Over time, you won't even really need any of those hooks or anything like that on these pipes, just because the heat will make the plastic soft enough and it will just kind of form to the bed, especially with the weight of the water inside the pipe as well. Yeah, dude, you really won't need those, but if you do want to get them in there, it's cool as well. You can make them out of coat hangers, all kind of different things if you wanted to. I'm gonna go ahead and just leave it with rocks though. Even if I were to use those, like the little hooks that actually do, or the stakes that are meant for these pipes, my soil here is so soft, they never stick anyway. This is the most effective way I've seen to actually get a fitting off of the poly pipe. Voila! That's really the only way, dude. Come out here with scissors and try to get all that stuff off, but that's way more effective. Alrighty guys, that's pretty much knocked out. As I start to run this system, all those little kind of peaks and valleys in the hose will actually start to lay down. And then of course the sun's gonna make it to where it softens the plastic a lot too. And it's gonna fit in there a lot nicer than what it is now. Right, so I got a line here, a feeder line there, and then a feeder line over there. If I want to, I can easily put another line in here, which actually might happen. For the most part, the way it's going to go is all the trellising crops will be in the back row, right? Because we already kind of established that we'll be harvesting from back there. Then we'll have other crops here. I'm not too certain that we're going to be running a lot of tomatoes in this bed, just because I'm going to be running tomatoes all through the plot for in the market garden. But a couple peppers might end up in here. For this like little second stage area here, and then all inside there as well, guys, you know, there's gonna be stuff planted inside there as well. We're gonna really maximize this. We're gonna really try to get as much food out of this as we possibly can. So along the way, I'll be showing you different ways to insert things inside of this bed to make sure that everything's getting adequate amount of water, or at least the amount of water that it needs. Here's the emitters that I'm gonna be running, at least for the start. These are a 25 pack. So that 2 GPH, what that stands for is 2 gallons per hour, meaning every hour, one of these emitters, they emit 2 gallons of water, right? I'm gonna be doing is what, at least what I plan on doing, is feeding these guys directly into the feeder hoses. And more than likely, only thing that I'm really going to be feeding off the feeder hoses directly are going to be my fruiting crops. So things like the squash will be going that way. We do run peppers or whatever else we do decide to put in there. We will, we might, as long as it's a fruiting crop, we'll go this direction. The other crops, I do plan on running herbs, especially in the front section there. Something that's easy for me to get to, but a lot of herbs. And that's probably why I'll end up running another line down here, because I can get a lot of herbs in a space really densely. So more than likely we'll be running another line there so we can get another row of herbs in there as well. It would be dope if I had another tea. I would do it right now, but I don't have another tea. I need 2 more teas, so I don't think I have any more. Actually, you know, I do have more. Do I have more? Let me go look. I'll go look. It's getting a little dark right now. But anyway, all in all, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. The next video, I'll be showing you guys how I'm spacing it, a lot of the stuff that we're actually going to be putting in there, how to actually apply these emitters. Right now, that's pretty much it. You definitely want to make sure, especially with the type of bed that we're going to be growing here, with all the different layers, if you will, that I'm going to be growing inside this bed. And we'll get into that a little bit more later. With all the layers that I'm going to be growing in this bed, I want to make sure that my soil is as strong as I possibly can get it. That's why it's really important to get the strongest and the best soil that you can get for your buck, as well as locally. If you have to drive far, I've been known to drive pretty far to get some soil. So I wanted to get this up for you guys fairly quick. And then 2, I've already amended this soil a couple times over. So I'm pretty certain that we're gonna be okay. And then not to mention as well, the whole entire garden, including the market garden, everything is gonna be getting composted all throughout the summer, spring and the summer. So the nutrient level that these things are going to be getting are, yeah, we're going to be getting plenty. I will have stuff in this bed no time soon. I really want to take you guys on a trip to a couple different nurseries, show you exactly what to look for when you're buying a plant start. We'll actually be going over how to seed some of the crops as well. We'll probably actually do some of that tomorrow. Yeah, man. More than likely tomorrow, if not, definitely sometime this week. We'll start planning out a lot of that squash, especially that butternut squash. We'll start planting that out on those back rows, as well as some peas and other things that we can get to trellis up the fence there. Anyway, I hope you guys found this video useful. I'll talk to you guys soon.